The highlight of my internship would definitely have been when I was invited to go to Geneva and sit in on the session at the United Nations for the Convention on the Elimination of Discrimination Against Women. We got to conduct a workshop before the session ran with non-government organisations from reporting countries, which was really fantastic, getting into the real human rights issues rather than what the governments were reporting.
For me, the highlight was getting to work with communities themselves, so not just doing legal work and campaigning or advocating for human rights, but actually working with individuals on a one-to-one level, either myself where I could or through an interpreter if I needed, but having that contact with community groups was, I think for me, a really, really rewarding experience.
One of the things about working at CCR is that you get to see advocacy from its very inception to it's played out in the courts. You're involved in the drafting of submissions. That court work was certainly the most valuable aspect, I think, and the most interesting aspect and the highlight of my work at CCR.
Working at Lawyers for Human Rights in South Africa really allowed me to gain an appreciation into the scale of the refugee problem in the world. So working in Durban affirmed my desire to work in international human rights law and to contribute to situations where people can live the lives they want.
The internship has really, I feel like it really sort of refined my black letter law skills. It was very much about research, writing, drafting, but in a human rights context. So for anybody who enjoys the law but is looking for something of real moral significance, I really do recommend the internship because it makes it very clear how you can use the law for good. But yeah, those basic skills were infinitely refined during my time at CCR because it's a pressure cooker. Yeah.
I think being able to go to Haiti and work with such a large international NGO like Plan International was really good, I guess, to try the lifestyle. It's one thing to be passionate about human rights and to be interested in their implementation. It's another thing to be living that lifestyle on the ground with the people every day, sort of dealing with, I guess, a lot of issues that you never really consider sitting in a comfortable air-conditioned office in a first world country. Actually implementing human rights is a completely different story. So having that lifestyle experience was really valuable.
I think it's really worthwhile. I can't stress it enough. I think that the Castan Centre has worked really hard to create some really valuable connections with these organisations, and I don't think that students would necessarily be able to get those experiences otherwise. So I think it's a real credit to the Castan Centre, and it's a fantastic way to kick off your interest in human rights and international law.
But I think for me, the answer must be that you get to apply the law in an unambiguously moral way. You get to practice law in an unambiguously moral way, and that can build your self-confidence in why you're studying law and what you're trying to achieve when you're studying law. It can help you see how you can use the law for good. It can give you ideas about where you might want to go in your future career. And it's just a great experience in general. It takes you out of your comfort zone, puts you into what are invariably high pressure situations, and forces you to really think on the hop. And I think that's true of all the internships. It was certainly true of mine.
I applied for an Australian Youth Ambassadors for Development position. I applied for a legal position at the Federation of Women Lawyers in Nairobi, Kenya. So I've been here for the past 4 months, and again, the experience I gained through my internship I think really benefited me. Having worked in the African context, having worked in the African legal context, really put me in a good position to start this role. It's been an excellent experience so far. FIDA has an excellent reputation in Africa and in Kenya specifically, advocating for women's rights. The organisation basically has 2 main functions, which is their legal aid clinic and also their transformative justice team, which deals mostly with policy, advocacy, lobbying on law reform issues, And my role specifically has dealt with a lot of analysis of new laws. So I've been very lucky to come in when Kenya's just had a new constitution passed 2 years ago. So I look at a lot of the new legislation that comes through and provide advice and comment on how responsive it is to the Bill of Rights that's contained in the constitution, and specifically how gender responsive those roles are.
So since I did my internship, I went and did a summer clerkship at the Attorney General's Department in Canberra. So I was working in the International Legal Assistance Unit there, which was really fantastic. I was then admitted to practice earlier this year, having done my traineeship at Russell Kennedy last year. I'm now working in public law litigation and aged care, so now I'm getting to work for the government and really see things from the other side of things. Beforehand I did the human rights, and now I'm looking at, you know, government and operational aspects from there. So it's good to sort of see from both sides of the fence.